Welcome to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference, empowering the good. And we're honored to kick it off with Cathy Mullins. She is president of the Brandon Scott Mullins Memorial Foundation. She's also a board member with the Woody Williams Foundation. She's a national anthem singer for the Nashville Predators with an amazing voice, and she's blessed us with our signature speaker series as well in Nashville. And she's also both a Gold Star and Blue Star mother. So, Cathy, how are you doing?
Well, good morning. I'm happy to be here, doing great. Looking forward to spending time with you today.
Let's start with your son. Give us a little bit of the story with your son in terms of serving in the military. Let's start there.
Okay. Well, our family, we are a military family. My husband served in the Army. My father served in the Air Force. And so it was bound to happen that our children would enlist as well. So our oldest son, Sean, is still serving. He's in Italy right now, stationed there in Vicenza, Italy. And our daughter, Bethany, our youngest child, Bethany, she's married to a staff sergeant. They just got back from a tour in Okinawa, Japan, and they're in Paducah, Kentucky. Our middle son, Brandon, though, however, he was in during a time at the height of the war in 2011. He paid the ultimate sacrifice in Afghanistan. So he is the inspiration for so many things that we do. When he died, it just changed the trajectory of our lives. And there's two ways you can go, the grief, or you can try to find some healing through different ways. So I was inspired by many stories. I've met other families who had lost children in service, lost loved ones, and watching their journey. And I thought, man, I think we can do that too. Brandon would like that. So we've done a lot of things since that time, 11 years ago. 11 years ago. In fact, this coming Sunday, September 11th, of course, I'm kind of dating the show, but that is the date that we buried him 11 years ago here in Owensboro. So do a lot of things in his honor. I could go on and on, but do you have anything specific that you'd like to hear about, things that we've done?
Before we talk about the things you've done, give me a memory that stands out to you, a memory that puts a smile on your face. And it could be him as a young boy or obviously serving. What's a memory that puts a smile on your face?
Okay, it's great that you asked that question, because just today I am trying to go through a lot of our old memory boxes, and I came across his 5th grade journal from elementary school. The president came to Owensboro. It was President Clinton at that time, and he writes in his journal, it was really cool to meet the president. So he says, I saw a lot of Marine choppers on top of the school, and so he was really impressed. And that was also at that time, that was the year 9/11 happened. Clinton came to Owensboro the same year of 9/11. Just chills. It kind of gives you chills to think about all the layers of his life that encompassed what he did in his future. So yeah, he was a cool kid. I came across a few discipline reports, in the principal's office, but he was just a great kid, and just outdoor adventurer, hunter, fisher, loved sports. So that's kind of what, he wasn't geared to sit at a desk all day. So school wasn't his greatest thing, but yeah. So good times. Met the president.
When you see the term Gold Star Mother, Blue Star Mother, define what that means for the audience.
Okay, so during World War I, a lot of the families here stateside would have soldiers. So it started as a grassroots movement. Families would put a blue star in their window. That would signify that this family, this house, has a soldier serving during a time of war. It kind of the momentum kept going, and around World War II was when those stars became very prominent, where, a whole city block would have a blue star in their window. All the kids from that block. We had so many active duty service members. It seemed like nearly every family in World War II had someone on active duty, someone close. When Brandon and Sean, my oldest son, when they were in basic training, I saw those flags in the store there on base. When they graduated basic, I saw these. I had never seen them. It was a tradition that is really coming back into favor in my community, but a lot of people don't know. So a blue star means that you have a son or daughter or family member on active duty during a time of war. Now, hopefully all the stars stay blue, but when it turns gold, that signifies that that soldier has given his life in service to our country.
And I think hopefully it puts in perspective, obviously, the gravity of what the family is dealing with and has dealt with, but continues to deal with. It's an ongoing piece, a broken heart. And so I'm curious for you as a family where you do have so many family members serving. Do you find that is a good thing in terms of support network, in terms of understanding the sacrifice and kind of what's at stake? Was that, I mean, obviously it's heartbreaking and it's very difficult, but did you find that having family in the service helped a little bit with perspective?
That's a really interesting question. Our oldest son, Sean, is still serving. His brother died in service. He continued to serve. My son-in-law, he was actually in basic training when his soon-to-be brother-in-law died. All the calendars aligned, and it was amazing because Sean was able to get home from North Carolina to Owensboro, Kentucky. My son-in-law, Stephen, was able to get home. So when we buried Brandon, here his best friend was in the Navy. His brother was in the Army. His brother-in-law is in the Army. So we had all these service members here in our community. We chose to bury him in Owensboro. We could have chosen Arlington, but we brought him home to Kentucky, and it really brought our entire town together. It was obviously the 10th anniversary of 9/11. And, that was a big question. Should we bury him on 9/11? Because it was the weekend. And many in the community, I said, I don't want to take away from that moment of reverence for our country. And they said, no, Cathy, that's what is going to bring our community together. So us still having children serving, the fact that Tommy's a veteran, we're very active in the veterans community here. It has helped. It has strengthened our resolve to bring awareness. I did not know anything about the Vietnam soldiers and how they were treated after Vietnam. I was born in 1960, I'll just date myself, 69, during the Vietnam War. I had no idea. So our community has hundreds of Vietnam veterans who rallied around us and said, we love your son, we stand with you. So it has helped us tremendously, and we feel like we need to give back. So many things that we've done. So Brandon died in 2011. In 2012, a year had passed, and the community was still wrapping around us. I'm a musician. I said, and I worked at the symphony. I did some music classes for this local symphony, and I talked to our symphony conductor and said, hey, how can we have a concert just to thank the community? And so, one step after another, we had this amazing concert, brought together 3 of our local choirs. It was just amazing to say thank you. And you could see where somehow Brandon's life, even though his life ended, his life was continuing on through others. He was one of the first soldiers killed here. We have several that died during Operation War on Terror. There are 10 that are listed on our local marker. But we've met all of them, and we've come together. It's just amazing. So his life, even though it's no longer here, he's living on longer. They named a road after him here in Owensboro. His name is at the high school, at the middle school, and at the elementary school. It's just been very remarkable, and so we're very blessed and honored to continue his legacy. In fact, this morning I did have some tears. And Tommy was like, "Honey, you can't cry today." I'm like, well, because I was reading that journal. I don't know why I came across that exact memory. So maybe it was just for you to hear, and the community out there, that even though life ends, it carries on through those who remember. So
absolutely, carrying the legacy forward. And so let's talk about some of the many things that you're doing in scholarships and so much more with that legacy. Kentucky Remembers is a piece of that. And so talk about some of the many ways that you're continuing that legacy.
So through his foundation, we did set up a 501c3 in his honor, and that was modeled after other families that have done this. Some to mention the Tom Martin Foundation, the Travis Mannion Foundation, the Doug Green Foundation. All 3 of those heroes died during this war on terror. So we've befriended these other families and are watching what they do. So here in Kentucky, we started the Brandon Scott Mullins Memorial Foundation, and we use the title Kentucky Remembers as a signature project title. So we've had several 5Ks over the years, 2 military balls, which are remarkable in that they bring together all service branches, all generations, to come together just to spend time sharing their war stories and just have fun together. The camaraderie is amazing. We are very close with our local Kentucky National Guard. We help with their family days. We help with a lot of different things. They deployed recently, so our community, through our foundation, we were able to rally the entire school district, sending over 5,000 care packages to our local Kentucky National Guard. So those are just a few things that we do. The scholarships at Apollo High School where he graduated, and the irony there that he didn't really love school, but his name is on the wall. And his story goes on. His principal came by. We passed one day, and he says, "Cathy, I've been meaning to talk to you. I share Brandon's story with every one of my career classes." So I love that. I love that his life and legacy just continues on. And when you talk about Brandon, you can't help but smile. He was the life of the party. He was very outgoing. He was a ladies' man, and he was a man's man too. So one of the last things that he shared with us before the events of August 25th, he says, "Mom," I said, "Brandon, what are you doing? What do you do over there? What's your day like?" And he said, "Mom, you wouldn't want to know what I'm doing, but I'm going to re-enlist. I got to help my boys." So he loved being in the military. And his brother Sean, who's still enlisted, he's more on the intellect side. He's more behind the scenes, geospatial engineer, kind of maps and things. Brandon was infantry, and when his brother died, he was like, "Mom, it just is." Brandon loved the Army, because you don't hear that very often. He loved his time in the Army. Well, Brandon really did. You talk to all of his comrades, because he was so funny, he could take a bad situation and make it better. So that's one of the greatest memories that we have of the comrades that have come to visit. We've had several. All the ones in his immediate unit have come, made their pilgrimage, so to speak. They live all over the country: Texas, California, New York, Maine. We had one visit from Maine just this year, and they all share that same idea. Brandon made life there better. So he's living on still.
Absolutely. Carry that forward, offer some context around the Woody Williams Foundation.
Woody Williams was the last, up until this summer, the last living Medal of Honor recipient from the Battle of Iwo Jima, World War II. Through the Gold Star community, I met Woody Williams in Virginia, Brandon's best friend that I mentioned earlier, who was home to help with the services for Brandon. He was stationed in Norfolk, Virginia at that time. Woody Williams was the keynote speaker for another organization. Woody Williams, in his 80s, dedicated his life to serving the Gold Star community. He and his family established a foundation to honor and remember Gold Star families through these beautiful monuments. And they had just dedicated their first monument when I met him. It was amazing. And his grandson said, "Cathy, are you driving back to Kentucky? You need to stop in West Virginia and see the monument." So I did. I drove back through, it's close to Huntington, West Virginia, right where my family's from, in Ashland, Kentucky, all this stuff on eastern side. And it was dark, but I found, and it was in a cemetery. The first monument was in a cemetery, and it was kind of weird and eerie, but it was still quite beautiful because they have a silhouette that is cut away from the granite. So the shadow that falls is your service member still serving. So having met him there, in the next couple of years, they invited me to become part of their board to give, our voice, our family's voice to some of their projects and initiatives. So I'm honored beyond words to have spent so much time with Woody, celebrate his birthday. I've been a part of many of their monument dedications, singing and sharing Brandon's story. And I still carry on with him too. We meet every quarter, and his birthday's coming up in October. So there's going to be some events to honor his life and legacy. So he's going to keep living on too, just like Brandon. We were so sad that he passed away this summer at 98. But he'll live on farther than all of us as well. In fact, that's one of our things when we're talking on the board, in 50 years, how will this decision impact 50 years from now? So yeah. I love being a part of that. It does your heart good.
So how can the community help? You have a lot of things that you're doing that are all powering the good. How can we help you in all of these efforts?
I'm a teacher at heart, sharing the story, educating the people, educating your kids. That's the number one thing. There is a difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. So that's one of my biggest projects. Upcoming Veterans Day, I'm going to share at some of our local schools, and that's going to be my biggest platform. What is the difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day? And the general public really, thankfully, we don't have as many service members dying. So they honestly don't know. And this next generation, most of them, well, in fact, all of them were not born when 9/11 hit. So you and I, we have a memory of that, but we've got to keep carrying that on. So that's one of the biggest ways: education, contributing. The Woody Williams Foundation, we have signature events all throughout the country. It's a national organization. It's amazing to have watched it grow. They're, in fact, coming up in Nashville, one of the monuments will be dedicated. There are several throughout the state of Tennessee. They're all over it. So every state has a presence of the Woody Williams Foundation. Brandon's Foundation kind of is more on the has a lot of the local roots, but we have gone nationally. In fact, all of his comrades, none of them live here. So they all live all over the country. So they carry on different things on Memorial Day. Most of them will do a walk or tribute to Brandon. So education is the biggest piece. Getting involved in your local community, veterans community, visiting these markers, things of that nature, sharing the mission.
Where do we go to learn more? So talk about websites, social media. Where do we go to learn more?
Well, for Brandon's Foundation, KentuckyRemembers.org, and the Woody Williams Foundation, WoodyWilliams.org. So those are the two big places.
KentuckyRemembers.org and WoodyWilliams.org. So that makes it easy. Well, Cathy, thank you for your family service, the sacrifice, obviously, for your son. Greatly appreciate everything you're doing to power the good and make a difference. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you. Go Preds.